Well, I just wanted to give you a Middle East update, what's going on in some of the various regions. First thing I'd like to bring to your attention is that Egypt has signed a deal with Russia for $3 billion worth of arms. This deal is being financed by both Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. And what is being purchased are some MiG-29 fighters, some air and coastal defense systems, and the Mi-35 attack helicopters and smaller arms. Right now, Russia is trying to take advantage of the strife between Egypt and the United States, but don't expect this to be long-term, and Russia doesn't expect it to be a long-term deal as well. This is more of an agreement that is designed to provoke some type of response out of the United States. But in the long run, the Egyptians and both the Saudis know that they are bound to the United States because they've used their weapon system so long that it would be a huge transition from U.S. weapons to Russian weapons. And frankly, on top of that, the Russians know that such a transition simply isn't going to be possible. And Egypt knows from the past that that Russia is simply not a reliable partner. You might ask, why is Egypt doing this and why is Russia getting involved as well? Well, Egypt, of course, is trying to elicit a response out of the U.S., but the U.S. probably won't bite in any way. They know that they're too deeply entrenched in Egypt, that they're not changing anytime soon. And the Saudis know that as well. But Russia, what they're trying to do basically is they're trying to make trouble in the region for the United States. And the reason why is because that keeps them occupied. The United States occupied in out of Russian, former Russian countries. That has been a major problem for Russia in the past. That the United States has been getting with some of the former Soviet states, and that's really become a real thorn in their flesh. So anytime that they can do something of this nature, then they take advantage of it. But don't look for this to be a long-term situation. Both the Saudis and the Egyptians need U.S. arms, and that's not going to end anytime soon. So don't look for any type of mutiny from the United States to Russia by either the Egyptians or the Saudis. This is more about sending a message to the U.S. than it is about actually changing arms suppliers. Now here's a story coming out of Haaretz. The title is Israel's Raphael unveils Star Wars-style laser missile shield. Now, I find this article to be extremely interesting and will probably change the face of missile defense in the near future. And let me read what the article says. An Israeli state-owned arms company developing a laser-based missile shield that evokes Star Wars-style technology says its deployment over the country is closer to becoming a reality. Raphael Advanced Defense Systems said development of the system was advanced enough for the company to be comfortable with publicizing it at this week's Singapore Air Show, which is Asia's largest aerospace and defense exhibition. Now get this, the laser technology behind the missile shield called Iron Beam is not that far removed from fiction. It's exactly like what you see in Star Wars, said company spokesman Amit Zimmer. You see the lasers go up so quickly, like a flash, and the target is finished. Iron Beam is designed to intercept close-range drones, rockets, and mortars, which might not remain in the air long enough for Israel's current Iron Dome defense system to intercept. Raphael Advanced Defense Systems said test data show Iron Beam lasers are blasting away more than 90% of their targets. The new system can also be modified so that multiple lasers can be used to hit a target, according to the company. But officials remain tight-lipped as to when and how the Iron Beam will be deployed. Zimmer, the company's spokesman, said it took 15 engineers about 5 years to work on the technology involving solid-state lasers. It works by shooting laser beams at targets which are heated so rapidly they disintegrate in an instant. It's very accurate and will help avoid collateral damage, Zimmer said at the company's booth at the Air Show exhibition hall. When you use lasers, you have an unlimited magazine. Israel has become one of the world's leading weapons exporters. Israeli arms companies often point out that they bring with them years of first-hand experience from conflicts with Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, jihadi militants in Egypt's Sinai Desert, and Hezbollah guerrillas. Now, whether or not this will be eventually used to knock down nuclear warheads in the near future is unknown, and how far advanced the system will go is unknown. But it wouldn't shock me if that turns out to be the ultimate goal of this weapons system. Because of the ongoing threat by Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist groups, Israel has been able to perfect a very fine-tuned missile defense system. And I can only see the advancements of these systems becoming more and more advanced. And lastly, if you have not heard, there are talks going on between Hamas and the West Bank leaders to form a unity government. And just recently, the leaders of Hamas have said that if Fatah and Hamas were to reunite, any peace deal between what goes on in the West Bank and Israel would be null and void as far as they're concerned. So needless to say, the peace treaty would be in jeopardy if, in fact, Hamas and Fatah were to reunite. But frankly, many believe that Hamas is only reuniting with Fatah because they have been rendered irrelevant since the takeover by the Egyptian army of the Muslim Brotherhood leadership back several years back. So they're using this time in order to get back into world relevancy as a player in the ongoing peace accord with Israel. So yes, this is just one more possible piece of the puzzle that could blow these peace talks wide open. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. As you know, the U.S. would like to see a full-blown signed peace accord by the end of 2014. Frankly, as I've always said, I believe the European Union at some point in time is going to have to step in because I believe that's what the Bible supports. So it'll be interesting to see if this peace accord is still going to go round and round in circles. But someday it's going to end, and someday there will be peace, as the Bible has proclaimed. And as always, if you don't know the Lord, today is the day of salvation. Don't put it off. And if you are a Christian, I would encourage you to get a copy of my Tribulation Period Survival Guide and place it on your coffee table or in your house somewhere where those who are left behind will be able to access it. It would be my hope and wish that every home in America would get one of these books, or at least every Christian would have one of these books in plain view once the rapture takes place, so that they would be available to those who are not saved, their family members, their friends, their neighbors. And if you have friends, neighbors, and family members that you'd like to get a copy of this book to, get on my website and get a block of these books, maybe 10, 12 of them, or whatever the case may be, and start giving them out to your neighbors. I've done that with my neighbors, and I recommend that you do it with yours as well. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.